how to find a right career path for yourself. Or better to say, let's say if you are a professional and you've been working very hard for a long time, and now suddenly you feel you lost that mojo and you don't know whether you should change your career or what to do to get back on and those passion and really actually go for it. So that's why today I want to talk about the career thing. That's a very important topic that everybody asks me, all my clients. Hi, my name is Helia Singh. I'm a wealth coach based in Perth, Australia at the moment, and a part of our podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the career changing and actually wanted to let you know that there are people out there who are the career coaches. So we all are not the same. So there are people who have a specialty in a different area. And even in career coaching, there are people who can help you just to start a new business or finding what's your passion for, or people who can help you. Okay, you are already a very successful professional, what is next? So there is a huge range of different areas that someone can help you. And today, my beautiful guest, her name is Nahida Coelho from Mumbai, India. And she's going to talk about all of that and give us a spotlight on exactly what's the career coaching is all about and what to expect from there. Hi, Nahida. Welcome to our
Hi, Helia.
program.
Hi, Helia. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much. Yes.
You're welcome. I really appreciate your time. I'm very impressed with what you do. That discovering you. I think that's a beautiful, concept, because this is all about this. That we, as we grow older, whether it's in terms of age as well as our, job and profession, we like to at the end of the day discover who we are and what we
Yeah.
like to do. Otherwise, life becomes so stagnant, and it's not just about money. So please tell us about what do you do exactly for my audience, so then they know what to expect.
Okay. Thank you, Helia. So Discover You, just the alphabet, discoveryou.in is an online career coaching platform where I work with career changers, students, professionals. Our aim is to kind of help them identify what they want to do in their career and take them and hold their hand through this entire process, because it can be overwhelming when you're looking at starting your career, when you're looking at changing your career, when you're looking at saying that, I've done this for 15 years of my life. I'm not really interested in it anymore. And the key aspect that we work on, Helia, is interest, strength, and the way forward. Identifying your values, and then creating a roadmap to figuring out what you want to do. I work one-on-one with clients. I do sessions just like this. I do one-on-one sessions with clients globally, primarily in India and the Middle East and South Asia, with all age groups. I specialize with clients who are looking at a career change, and that's what I do also. I myself changed my career when I was 37. I was into sales and marketing prior to that, Helia. And I started my journey as a flight attendant 20 years ago,
Oh, wow.
and it didn't work out. And why I started it was to see the world, but when I was in it, I thought it didn't work out for me. And since then, I did not have anybody to guide me with my career. So I kept doing jobs, and I kept using what I felt my gut was telling me to do. So if I got into a job, I said, okay, you know what? I can talk to people. I like helping people. I enjoy working with them. But okay, let's take up. So sales and marketing 20 years ago was, upbeat, upcoming. So it just automatically happened. I wouldn't have a degree in it. I graduated with an English literature degree. I started working immediately. But all through the 18 years, of my work experience, I did not have that one person to say, what is it that you really want to do? And I felt that before I started Discover You in 2020, um, I've been in the education industry for about 12 years now. But in 2020, I was literally, actually in 2019, I was literally thinking, and I said, what, I want to help people. I don't know how. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I want to help people. And I want to see if I can help them identify who they are, what their strengths are, where their interests lie, which is very varied, which will be very varied from like person to person. Like you would be different from me. We might have a similar strength, but our interests may differ. Our backgrounds may differ. So the way we're brought up, how we think about certain things, how we look at certain things. So I wanted to take those key things into aspect, your values, your strengths, your interests, and then put them together and work together with my clients to identify a career that makes them happy. Sounds simple, but it's a process. It's a process that it's a two-way relationship. As a coach, you'll understand that coaching is not just about us talking and them doing the work. It's about actually partnering with our clients for them to take the steps and use the tools that are provided to then make a headway in their career.
Wonderful. No, that's great. Amazing. So I'm glad you mentioned this about that, about your, of course, journey, and really appreciate that, because I know from people like us from different background, more like from India or Middle East, I'm from there. So the way that we are raised and grow up, that, oh, okay, you go find a job and stick to the job and that's it. So, and this is so brave to decide even that, no, this job is not for me. I want to change the career. There are so many people who are stuck in that, mentally stuck in there, that what will happen if I just suddenly change a career? What people will think about it, or the that the imposter syndrome kicks in, that, oh, I don't have enough degree or experience in this area. How can I do this? So what's your advice for people who have that imposter syndrome? Basically, it's just rules their mindset and is stopping them from taking the next step.
Absolutely. I think the first step is to tell them that it's okay to get help. That's, I think, very, very important. And I don't think we're told that when growing up a lot. Now there are awareness and there are programs, and there's a talk about, oh, you can get help with your career, you can get help with mental health, you can get help with financial with a financial coach, with your health. You can get help not just by going to a doctor or a chartered accountant or a traditional career counselor. You can actually work with somebody. And I think that's the first thing. So I do a 15-minute introduction call, which is complimentary for all my clients that inquire with me. And I think the first thing that I ask them is, what is it that they want to achieve? How is step 5, literally, because, we literally have to go through all the aspects, but what do you want to achieve? And you can sense that the moment they say, I'm upset, I don't want to do this, I'm stressed about it, then once they move into the conversation, they're eager to get the change done in a sort of an urgency. So it's not about then a career change. So it's again how we are trained to think about a career, like you rightly said, get a job, make the money, get that salary, figure it out. But the moment you stop and think back and say, okay, what is it that I am interested? What do I enjoy doing? What am I doing? If I've been doing a certain activity for 15 years of my life, I need to look beyond it. Even going for a walk that I've never done and I've not observed, and do something which is beyond the regular. And I try with small steps, Helia. I realize that if you take the big step, they're just coming back to square one. So it's literally the small steps of, hey, okay, so what do we want to achieve in this session? What do you see yourself achieving in this session? What do you want to talk about? And sometimes, very honestly, it's not always about the career. It's sometimes they're sharing a personal thing that has happened to them or an experience, because at the end of the day, you need money. I mean, I'm talking to a wealth coach.
Yeah.
You need the money, you can be all romantic about finding your passionate career, and it is possible. A lot of the time our conversations don't just revolve about your career. It's about understanding your background, it's understanding where you're from, it's understanding, you know I'm doing a certain thing because my dad did it, or I'm doing something because my uncle told me that I need to do it, or my aunt told me that, or I'm brought up in a family of architects, so that's the road I thought I should be taking, or I'm into engineering because everybody in the family, but I really don't want to do it. And I'm scared because what am I going to go back after this session and tell my family that, hey, you know what? All of you are great, but I don't want to be an architect anymore. I want to go teach children.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's very, very, very overwhelming. And I think it's for them. And the next step is then identifying your strengths. Because if you know your strengths, you are confident enough to have a conversation with somebody to tell them that this is what I can do, these are my limitations, and I think that this is the path that I would like to take in my career. And it's small steps that lead to the big change. So sometimes a career change, and I want to tell your audience this, and I keep repeating that a career change is not an overnight process.
Very true.
It is networking, it's talking to people, it's doing something beyond the ordinary, it's going back to square one and then starting all over again.
Tell me about it.
But when you're there, and it's not that what I do is a dream job and every day there's a rainbow and it's sunny and it's great. I mean, we all have our days, but you actually want to make that effort because you love doing what you do.
Absolutely. I think that's the whole purpose of life, that we enjoy the moment. And that moment, whether we are working, whether we are just working, and serving people, or whether we are a parent, or we are a wife, or we are at our own time, space. It's just about that, having that fulfillment in life. And that's why we have amazing people like yourself to help us to find the right career. Because to me, most of our time as an adult, we are working. That's the reality. When you are awake, most of the time we are working. And especially now after COVID, is just the way that the work is somehow is tangled with our personal time. For us, the business people, business owners, has been always like that. But now even for employees, they suddenly feel that, now there is no exact gap between personal time and the work time. It's all are
interconnected. It gets very overwhelming. I mean, I talk to my clients, very overlapping. Yeah. And I feel like there is a shift. And since you brought it up, it is something that, people need to realize there is a shift. But I feel like that shift going into a very, very quick, people have no time anymore. And I feel like I'm hearing that a lot more from my clients, that I'm breathless, I don't have time, I don't know what I'm doing, I want to make that change, but I feel like I'm stuck. The things are expensive, I can't just quit, I can't just take time off right now. So there's a lot of that going on in conversations as well with my clients at this point of time. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one question I would like to also ask you is, let's say if somebody already, of course, a professional, we all are talking about that, they're already in a job, they're already doing what they love to do, but somehow life gets in the way and then they feel they lost their mojo. Still, they love what they do, but they lost the mojo. That excitement is gone. Is this a sign that they have to change a career, or is it something else? Or there are some tips to find out? Or is it something that they just have to do just to bring them back the joy.
Yeah.
So what's your
So
view?
I think so it really differs from person to person. It really differs from person to person. That's point number one. So a lot of people who feel that way might not necessarily want to change their career completely, but do something maybe in relation to what they've done for many years. For example, if someone has, and I'm going to take your example, I don't know what your journey has been, but if someone's been say into finance for many years, but they don't want to do the technical aspects of finance, but they want to also help people. They're social, they like working, they like interacting, they like encouraging. They could merge the aspects of coaching with their knowledge of finance and kind of create a different path in that aspect.
I like
It's
that.
not necessary. Yeah. And it could happen to someone who says, you know what, I've been an architect for so many years and I love what I do. I love creating. I love, this thing. But like you said, I've lost my mojo in many ways and I don't want to, go out there and do the same thing over and over again. And, it's exhausting in that way, but I really love creating. We work together in understanding and breaking it up. Okay, so there's architecture, which is a big word. Let's see
Mhm.
what the aspects of it involve. There's creativity, there's technicalities, there's conversation with people, because these are all the key skills that you would require.
Yeah.
So what are your key skills and what do you not like doing from there? Let's look at that. Because maybe there's something that you don't like doing that we can just omit and then start focusing on what you actually like doing. And I have people who've been architects who've moved into UX UI design. I've had people who've moved from architecture, moved into business management. They're doing an MBA in their late 30s right now because they wanted to kind of shift into that space. But that's because they realize what their strengths are. They put them together and they realize that we'll take what we want with us moving forward. We don't have to forget about it, but we just take what we want and then use those expertise to help people further. Something like what you're doing in many ways.
That's a great advice, absolutely. Well, I was lucky enough that, I finally, listened to my heart and, followed what I really wanted to do. But I remember initially when that time when I had a coach, obviously myself, that time,
Yes.
business coach, and then told me that, okay, so maybe it's the time for you to change a career and sell the business while it is you are at the peak.
Yeah.
And it was, and funny enough, there was the time that I sold my business, my finance business, was the time that I was reaching 50,000 a month income. So that was a big achievement in my business. And I just thought, that's it. I just don't want to do it. I don't have any more aspiration to say, okay, I'm going to take it to the next level, or hire more people, or just expand it. So many people like perhaps go down that path. But for me, it was, that's it. I just don't want to do this anymore. And I was even feeling guilty of taking new clients in the finance section because I wasn't enjoying doing it. And that was the time I said, this is it for me, that I have to move from there. But at the same time, I started my coaching business on the side because I was scared to suddenly, go sell that one and start something fresh from the scratch. So for about 18 months, I just had both the businesses. I had to hire a couple of more people in the finance section to, of course, keep up with the demand and customer service and everything. But that gave me time to go through this
Process
transition.
and kind of, absolutely.
Yes, yeah. But I'm sure if I had someone like you, would have been much easier and less scarier.
Well, thank you. I think it's honestly just telling the other person that you're not alone and let's do this together. And I feel like we don't hear that too often. We don't, friends and family are great when it comes to the support, but sometimes they know you too well. So they'll say, hey, you know what? Like, for example, I had a great support system with my family, with my friends, who always encouraged me and still do. But they knew what I wanted them to know. So they knew what and I did not know what I wanted to do at that point of time. So I had to literally dig down, and the tools that I'm talking about is identifying your interest and strength is actually something that I did personally.
Mhm.
So I studied to be a career coach. I studied to be a career counselor. I studied, but I think all of that work, when it actually came down to putting it into practice,
Mhm.
which mattered the most. And and I wanted to share it. And I said, why can't I share it with somebody else? That this is how we can do it. This is how you can find it. And yeah, to that. And I would recommend, though, in this current, because of economic, situations, which might not be always in the perfect space, you might not always be able to change your career as easily if you don't have a coming from I mean, you probably understand this better, but if you don't have a saving, you don't want to take on big changes, or you don't want to take on. So it's important to also then talk to somebody who has the knowledge, like yourself, of, okay, this is a certain corpus amount I've had, and this is the plan that I'm planning to, I'm working with the coach, and and I need to understand. So can you kind of guide me? That's when you come into the picture in many ways, for people to understand that, save more than you can spend, and then maybe, everything kind of falls into place in many ways.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's great. I think one last question I would like to ask you is, okay, so now, of course, now I hope, I'm sure, actually, for my audience, it's more clear about what does a career coach do and why is it so important to speak to someone like yourself to find out, okay, what's the next step in their career. But at the same time, let's say if somebody knows what they want to do and now they want to find that dream job or something, is it something you can help as well, or is it a different service, or is it a
Yeah.
different? This goes to human resource or other things. So if you could
Yeah.
please give
So
us
I
some.
am very clear and transparent with my clients in the very beginning that I'm not a recruiter at all.
Yeah.
So I do not get you the job, but I will work with you to identify how to approach, rework on your resume. What are you saying? Why
Mm.
are you not highlighting your strengths? Why are you only talking about an education that you did 20 years ago? Let's talk about what you want to do moving forward. So yes, I'm sure I want to get into this industry. This is the change that I want to make. I still work with clients for that, because there is a little bit of nervousness sometimes to say, because if you've been doing ABC and you're repeating it,
Yeah.
you're going to get the same results. So you need to see what else can you do. So again, it comes back to the same thing: identifying your strengths to then be able to talk to your employer or the person across the table and say, hey, this is who I am. These are my strengths. This is the value that I can bring to your organization. I'm open to learning. I'm open to kind of adding that, what I have with you, and together let's grow the organization. So I do work with clients who are sure of what they want to do, but then just need some help to advance their career in many ways.
That's great. I really appreciate that. Well, in the world that is just constantly changing, and we all are surprised every day by different news, whether it's the economy or whether it's some wars happening somewhere,
Yes.
or God forbid, perhaps another virus or anything. Everything is just possible. But one thing we know for sure, it's in our hand, that how we can look after ourselves, in our mental health, and of course the career and doing the job is, I think that's a big part of our overall well-being. And now you know that, okay, if you want to find out, if you feel lost about your career, or you don't love or enjoy what you're doing, all you have to do is just get in touch with beautiful Nahida and find out what is next for you. Because until then, so everything else is just in your brain. If you just talking yourself, perhaps it's not enough. And but you need to take a real action and find out more. Really appreciate your time, Nahida. Do you have the final advice or anything else for our viewers?
Thank you so much, Helia, for this opportunity to kind of speak to your audience. And I just want to say to everybody who's watching this, we need to take it moment by moment. We're going to reach it eventually, but we need to work on the right now, because if there's a matter of urgency to make the change, but if you want to reach that goal, we need to look at what we are doing right now. What are the steps we're taking right now? So step by step, breath by breath.
Very well advised. That's good. Really appreciate Nahida. Well,
Thank
my
you.
beautiful audience, thanks for watching. If you find this episode useful, please share your comments and love, and also tag the people that you think that is going to be beneficial for them to watch it. And until next episode, have a happy, healthy, wealthy life. Bye for now.